and you're here at Extra Time TV.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Extra Time TV. We know James is very happy today. There was an exciting amount of games today. But, before we head into the main match, which is Scotland versus England for James and myself, we'll just do a quick wrap-up of the games today. Earlier today, Sweden took on Slovakia. They got a victory 1-0. And also Croatia, a 1-1 draw against Czech Republic, which, is interesting. And, we could talk about that a little bit more when we get further into our discussion about the next game, James, which I know I cut straight to it because I know there's no way we could not speak about this game. James and I were talking to each other throughout this game. We were talking about it last night. We both had our battle cries on social media. Scotland versus the Three Lions. A lot of people thought, with the exception of James and myself and a couple others, that, England was just going to walk all over Scotland. And they didn't. It was a 0-0 game. I thought it was a very exciting game. But James, I'm going to allow you to respond first to this game before we get anybody else speak.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed this game. I mean, there was an intensity about this game. I mean, obviously, I am passionate about Scotland, being Scottish, but it was one of those sitting on the edge of your seat kind of game. I mean, I think personally, although England had more possession, I found the tactical changes they made didn't really work for them. And coming into the game, I thought our tactical changes, I was listening to, for example, Steve Clark talking just before we came on here, and he was saying how he played Gilmore, but the fact he left O'Donnell in there on the right wing back, and O'Donnell was fantastic, and everybody was telling him to change him, but he was so happy they had such a good game because, to be honest, every single one of the Scottish players out there was phenomenal. They run their socks off. I think we had some lovely patterns of play. We broke the lines a lot of times. I think we had 11 chances, which is phenomenal for, a team that they said was going to sit back and defend. And I'm hearing different things come out to say, Scotland just defended with a back five and a four. I don't agree with that personally. I thought we had some lovely, moves. I thought Dykes and Adams got themselves busy. Robertson had some nice moves. So, I think in general, it was a really good team performance. And, obviously roll on the last game because we could still qualify by obviously beating Croatia, so it's a nice feeling now. I would have loved us to win, but I think all in all it was a great performance, and I think even our players nullified their players. Foden looked good early on, but I thought, for example, McTominay marked Kane out of the game. Him and McGinn kind of doubled up there, and it was a great performance.
Yes, and before we move along, we had some comments from our usual contributors. Jamie Ward has a couple comments to say about this particular game, James, which I think you'll like. So let's hear it.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, James. Bet you're one happy man this evening. So great result for Scotland fans and everyone involved in Scotland. So well done to them first and foremost. I think their performance was a really good performance. Never really looked under any threat or in any kind of danger. There was the header from John Stones, which was obviously probably the only chance England really had, which was half a chance. When you look at it, it was from a set piece, but a great connection, just couldn't guide it into the far corner. And obviously the poster saved Scotland there. So no, it's a performance for England. For me, wasn't great. Too many individuals not at it, not at the races. Lack of intensity, which was disappointing. You'd like to think a bit of an international local derby, big rivalry. You'd like to think that the players would be able to get themselves up for it, but for me, it looked like they just couldn't get themselves going. It's as if they thought, we'll turn up and we'll easily win because we play in the Premier League. So, and obviously we have some talented individuals that play for England. But at the end of the day, I think you take a couple of positives out of it. You got another point on the board. You got another clean sheet, so you're building on clean sheets. Now it's just about just finishing the job off and getting through. So with a bit of luck, Scotland will be able to join England going into the next round. Hopefully they can get a win on the final group game. It'd be great to see, obviously, all the British sides go through, so it'd be very nice. Going back to the game, I just think England just lacks wanting to run in behind, wanting to go and do the horrible dirty stuff, whereas I'd say horrible, dirty stuff carrying us up the pitch, and midfielders making runs in behind to create space for Harry Kane, or just like the goal that England scored against Croatia. Sterling's broke the last line of defence. Calvin Phillips has played a great ball, so there wasn't enough of that tonight. There was England were just happy to just play the ball around us and keep possession, but possession doesn't win your games, does it? Goals win your games, and really disappointed with England going forward tonight. Anyhow, well done, James. I bet that kilt come in handy. Yes, so good luck for the next round, and great to speak to you all at EXTV. Good luck.
All right, Jamie, thank you very much. And also we have from Meehan from England. He's an English supporter, obviously. You'll see his comments. So James, let's hear what he has to say.
Hi everybody at EXTV. Well, what can I say about tonight's game? Very disappointed with England's display. I think they went to Wembley not really wanting to win the game. They knew that if they kept a clean sheet, they have a good chance of going through to the next round. Positives, another clean sheet, and that's probably about the only positive. Thought Mings again had a very strong game. Just so flat, sideways passes, backwards passes. I thought Scotland, they deserve to win the game, if I'm totally honest from you. But, there is a chance now that both British teams could potentially qualify if Scotland get the win on the last game and England get a point. But, that happens in football. You expect to win games, and sometimes it doesn't happen like that. It was nice to see Grealish come on. Lots touched on the ball. At least he was more positive going forward. I just thought the whole England display was really poor. Again, Harry Kane just dropping into too many deep pockets between the midfield to try and pick up the balls. He should be our talisman staying up front. We just didn't have an outlet whatsoever. So, fingers crossed for Tuesday. I do hope Scotland go on and get the 3 points they deserve. I think they deserve to get something out of this tournament. I think England will go through, even if they don't win the game. I think 4 points will be enough to qualify, but hopefully they'll go through, beat Czechs on Tuesday and go through as winners. So thanks anyway, guys. James, good luck for Tuesday when you play as well. See you soon. Come on, England. It's coming home.
So there you have it, folks. I'm Jamie, and also Daz, who was the former technical director of Turks and Caicos. And, he's giving us his valuable contributions. These guys know their stuff. And, James, they're giving you some kudos because you called it. It's easy to say, you're being emotional. But this was a great result. And I'll even build on what you were saying. I totally disagree with the assessment that, it was a boring game and Scotland sat back. I thought there were various stages in the game where Scotland were in the ascendancy. Their passing never indicated a team that wants to sit back and sit at the half line. They were not afraid to get into the English defensive part of the field, and their hold-up play and passing was very confident. With McGinn and also McTominay in the back, who had a slight shaky moment a couple times, but then he grew into the game, and it was a shock tactical change. A lot of people saying that Jose and the coach, who have worked together before at Chelsea, are possibly having conversations. But I thought it was a brilliant move, as you pointed out, James, because you saw the lineup before I did, of course. I didn't know that was going on, and I thought it was very clever that to neutralize Kane. And to be very honest, there were never any really, I think, outside the header where it looked like England was looking like they were going to start off really strong. They faded after that. There were never really outright clear opportunities, and the defensive teamwork of Scotland, it wasn't as men lying down or parking the bus as people are implying. I totally disagree. I think it was some quality defending. There were some one-on-ones with Sterling at one point in time. Foden, who's always dangerous, and he was dangerous. He was stopped. There was some very amazing and admirable zonal defending where they ushered players out wide. And then even in the end, you could see Southgate was indecisive, because we spoke about this last night, James. Was Southgate going to come out all guns blazing, or would he revert back to that three at the back and try to get the counter-attack? And I think he was trying to figure out. He came out guns blazing, didn't really work. Scotland, settled things down. Didn't realize it didn't really work. Went in the second half, and I think at one point, Southgate even looked like he was trying to even sit back a bit, allowed Scotland to come in. And I was a bit worried. I thought they were going to play for the break with Sterling and those guys, breaking away. And then eventually when Rashford came on, I thought that was definitely the plan. But Scotland never really allowed them to get into their game. And I mentioned this to you while the game was going on. I think what I really admired about Scotland was the confidence, how they were passing the ball around. They were not a team that was scared. They were passing the ball around. They were holding it up. And England looked like they were uncomfortable. Like, they were shell-shocked that Scotland had this. And, I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be a hard-fought victory for England. But with some decisiveness up front, I remember Pickford made a very good save as well. It could have been easily been a victory for Scotland as well. So, I thought it was a great performance. Those who are saying it's boring, I respectfully disagree, James. That's
I think there's a few other things. I mean, Southgate obviously after the game gave Scotland a lot of credit, and he even said something which I found was a very interesting statement. He said at the end of the day, this is tournament football. A point still very good for them. So he was basically indicating that Scotland were a lot better than what everybody said. And I mean, let's be honest. Scotland just played against a team who's in the top 10 in the world. I can't remember which number in the rankings England are, but they pushed them. And let's be honest, I mean, I thought about this really hard. Billy Gilmore got the man of the match. And a lot of people were saying, oh, they just gave him it because he's an 18-year-old and he came in and he did well. He did exceptional. His legs didn't last it, because he's not been playing that often. But could you tell me one English player, let's be honest, that you could say had an exceptional game? I cannot. I think Pickford, probably for the 2 or 3 saves he had, I mean, with the exception of that, I think most of them blew hot and cold, and that obviously is credit to Scotland pushing them.
Yep. And another thing, that's interesting, obviously where we're from, folks, which is Trinidad and Tobago, although we're being seen all over the planet, James, Scotland, all over the place. There's a lot of English fans, and they were completely shocked by the result. But if you really sit and look at a lot of the Scottish players, this is one of the stronger teams that Scotland has had in a long time. And it's quality players. McGinn and these guys are top players. McTominay is... I always get tongue-tied when I pronounce his name for some reason. He showed his tactical versatility today. That in the 93rd minute or whenever it was, when it looked like there was a scramble in the box, I remember he fully committed his body to enough where it was not a foul and was not obstruction enough to get the ball out, and then all the guys came in. There was a grit in addition to not just a gritty performance, because I think it will be doing Scotland an injustice if I just say, oh, it was a real smash and grab performance. It wasn't. I saw some quality football, and fans of Scotland should be very excited, because this moving forward, even if Scotland does not make it out of the group, which also it's still mathematically possible, James, so let's not do that. But if they don't, there's a lot of foundations here to say, okay, Scotland can compete with the best now. It's been a while, as you know, James, that they've been in an international tournament. And I was very impressed. England, everybody thought they were going to squash Scotland, but we've seen this happen so many times in football, James. Teams that should be rolling over teams, it doesn't work like that anymore. Coaches are more tactically astute now. Players are, in terms of preparation and physical preparation, it's no longer like maybe the 80s or 90s where there was a vast difference. It showed today. And as I said, with a little bit more luck, and if Pickford didn't pull off those saves, who I identified as one of England's weaknesses, turned out to be the one that saved them in the end, was impressive. And Gareth Southgate, while I appreciate him being magnanimous, he's correct. I think the English media is going to crucify him, James, because I think their expectations have always been their downfall. England could just as well go on and have a good tournament. I'm not saying that their tournament is done, but it just shows you that there's something not right with this team. I also thought in the middle of the park, James, that England, just was not clicking, and perhaps it was due to Scotland's play. And I'll be honest, I got. It seems like you think I'm Scottish. I'm excited because I'm excited because I got memories of when we played England, and when I say we, folks, I mean Trinidad and Tobago. At one point, where I thought, I think it was it Sterling? Somebody, I thought they were going to get a penalty kick at one point, and I was like, I really hope this game doesn't end in some, shady thing, Brent Sancho like thing with somebody, something stupid. I was thinking, I was getting cynical, but that's a lot to talk about, folks. So James, before we head off, any final thoughts?
No, I think the one thing I was just looking at, and something you said, is it's a very exciting Scottish team, because let's be honest, if you look at the 11, with the exception of Marshall, every one of those players is virtually under 30. I'm just guessing off the top of my head at the moment. I think there's maybe one or two close to 30, but the majority of the squad is young enough to carry on for a couple of tournaments, which is excellent. And we have some other young prospects coming through, so it bodes well for the future. But I think it sets up next week's football even better, because I was worried that it got to the end of today and you're basically thinking tournament done, for Scotland, if it was a bad result, but the performance, the result gives us a lot of heart. We're still sitting bottom of the group, but if we go and beat Croatia, obviously we could go through as one of the third place teams, which would be excellent. And I think the interesting thing is as well, I think this game was all set up because of the result against Czech Republic. If we had won against Czech Republic, it may have been a different kind of game today against England. We may not have we would have had the drive and the passion, yes, but because tactically we had to change things. For example, he brought Gilmour in, he put McTominay back. So I wondered if he would have made those same tactical changes if we had won the first game, So I think everything that happened today was perfect. I hope we lead it into the Croatia game. And as I say, very exciting times. And as I say, I just want to congratulate the team. And as I say, England didn't lose. This is a sad thing. You would think England lost the World Cup. They did not lose. As I say, as you mentioned, I was disappointed in the midfield. I gave Phillips a lot of credit. Rice and Mount in the last game, I didn't think they showed up. I saw Jack Grealish come on. I was really excited, even although I didn't want him to do anything. I like Grealish a lot. To me, we kind of nullified them as well. So it's some worrying things for England, but the good thing is they've got time now to change it so that they can have a good tournament. So, you've got to take the positives out of it.
Yep, and make no mistake, folks, this is not me writing off England. This is the first time in a long time I've acknowledged that this is a very strong, different England team. I like what Gareth Southgate is trying with England. I know a lot of people weren't happy with the performances in 2018. It was not great, but you can see he's trying, a different aspect, tactical approach where they're a bit more flexible. It just didn't work today, and they could very well go on and have a good run in the tournament. So just saying that for the record, in case anybody thinks I'm throwing England under the bus. But congratulations to Scotland. James, I know you're on top of the world. And folks, if you have any comments, thoughts, or suggestions, let us know in the comment section below. Be sure to check out our pre-match FIFA sims. It's something we're trying to see if FIFA gets it right. According to the FIFA sim, it was going to be 2-1 to England. So, turns out it was wrong. But so, folks, like I said, James, once again, it's a huge pleasure to have you on the show.
One thing I wanted to just bring up tomorrow, obviously, all those fans out there, they love football. Look at that big game set up for tomorrow afternoon, Portugal against Germany. So if you enjoyed the football today, wait till tomorrow as well. We have some great games. Spain play Poland. Now, remember, Spain drew, I think, their opening game, so that's a big game for them too. And Hungary and France. So some big games tomorrow. So, it's all football and it's fantastic.
Yes. And of course, if you haven't noticed, I have my Argentina Copa America jersey here, plugging myself because I'm going to run back to look at the Argentina game, which is taking place. There's so much football, James. We can't get a rest, but I'm not complaining. So, football all around. It's a fiesta. Thank you for joining us. Jamie and also Daz and everybody else. We have lots of guests and more coming. So once again, folks, thank you for joining us.
Just a reminder, everyone, for more episodes with Shaka Hislop, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more updates, interviews, and content.